We're going to talk about nutrition facts labels. Here on screen, we see two types of labels. The left is the old style that you'll see on products in the grocery store, and the right style is the new style that the FDA is trying to roll out to all products over the next few years. So you're going to see both types in the wild, and I want you to be able to read whatever type you come across, whatever product you're looking at. I want you to be able to read the nutrition facts labels, okay? So first we'll start at the very top of the label. You'll see here we have an indicator of serving size, okay? So you'll see that the serving size in a package sometimes is different from what you would consider a serving size. Maybe you buy one bag of chips and you have the intention to eat the whole bag, but when you look at the nutrition facts label, it turns out there's actually 2.5 servings in that bag of chips. So what does this even mean? Well, different companies use different serving sizes to disguise the nutrition that their foods have. So it's a way for them to manipulate the data. So if you're looking at certain types of nutrients that you're trying to avoid, well, maybe they manipulate the serving size so that you look at the label and say, oh, this fits my macros or whatever you're trying to limit. And you don't realize that actually, oh, there's actually X number of serving sizes in this container that you're going to eat. So this doesn't mean that you have to follow the serving size, but just understand that it's a tool that companies can use to mislead you. And in the future, this new nutrition facts label is supposed to make it harder for companies to do that. But you still have to be on the lookout for that sort of thing. So in this particular label, you see that whatever this food label is for, a serving size is 2/3 cup or 55 grams. So if you want to serve yourself this exact amount of nutrients, then you're going to follow this serving size. And then in the package that you're holding in your hand, you should get 8 servings right here. So you and each of your 7 friends can get 1 serving, and you'll all get the same amount of nutrition from that serving. Okay? I'm going to talk about calories. So here you'll see that in 1 serving, you're always keeping in mind that these facts are for 1 serving. In 1 serving, you have 230 calories. In the new nutrition label, you'll see that the 230 is much larger. That's because the USDA really wants you to focus on calories. In the holistic nutrition profession, we don't really obsess about calories the same way as the USDA obsesses about calories, but it is important to understand that calories are a value of energy. So different types of macronutrients contain different densities of calories. And we do know that if you consume calories from subpar nutrient sources, it is going to promote disease. So here you'll see that in each serving, there's 230 calories in this particular food. We're going to talk about these next 2 sections on the label, this upper section and this lower section. So the nutrients that you see on this upper section are ones that the USDA doesn't worry that you get enough of. So most Americans fulfill their needs of these particular nutrients, and in fact, some of us may be getting higher than adequate amounts of these nutrients. And then below them, we see these vitamins and minerals that the USDA wants you to make sure you're getting enough of. If you see them below this solid line, you know that you're striving to reach your daily intake of these vitamins and minerals. And if you see it above this line, then you're more worried about limiting these particular types of nutrients. So then I want to talk briefly about daily value because it's kind of a confusing statistic. So you'll see here daily value. This is an estimate of what the USDA believes is an appropriate amount of each of these nutrients that you should be consuming. So you'll see that your fat is expressed as a percentage of a daily value that you should be not exceeding according to the USDA. Next, you'll see sodium, which is often thought about as salt, but it's not the only type of salt that our body needs or utilizes, but it is one that is often used in processed food, and as a result, a lot of us who eat high amounts of processed foods get too much sodium in our diet. So something to look for is how much sodium this processed food has in total, so also measured in milligrams, but also as a percentage of what's recommended as the max amount of sodium you should be consuming a day. Next, you'll see the total carbohydrates. So there's a lot of different molecules that fall under carbohydrates or sugar. We have dietary fiber and sugars in the old format. And then in the new format, we also have this added sugar value, which indicates that this food has a sugar that's not inherent in the ingredients themselves. So you might have a fruit bar that has strawberries, bananas, mango, but then also has an added sugar, whether it is dextrose, cane sugar, high fructose corn syrup, that sort of thing would be in the added sugar section, whereas the total sugars would be including all those fruits which naturally have carbohydrate or sugars in them. And then the dietary fiber just refers to the fiber that our body would not be able to use as fuel. So it's called fiber, and it actually has benefit in our bodies. So a lot of people really like consuming high amounts of dietary fiber. So it's something to focus on when you're looking at the nutrient label, especially if you deal with issues having to do with your bowel or your colon or regularity. And then below that, you'll see vitamins and minerals. So previously, there were some vitamins that were required to be included in the nutrient label, like A and C, and the focus has moved to other vitamins. So you'll see a lot of different nutrients in the vitamins and minerals section. So here you have potassium and iron, and they're also expressed as a percentage of your daily value. So your daily value is the goal that the USDA says you should be hitting daily. In holistic nutrition, in this model, we often expect you to consume higher than the daily value. So you may be reaching for higher values than that, but you can think of the daily value as a minimum of the amount of calcium, the amount of vitamin D that you should be trying to consume in a day so that your body can continue its normal function. In addition to the nutrition facts box, there's some other things that I think are really important for you to be able to read when you're looking at a packaged food. So something really important that will really help you decide whether a food is good for you or your situation is this ingredients list. So this particular ingredients list is for this yogurt and lemon bar, but it's a good example because it has a lot of different examples of things I want to talk about. So first thing, I want to tell you about the ingredients. So ingredients are listed in the order of predominance, which means from biggest to smallest. So the first thing on the ingredients list is the thing there is the most of in that food. So here you'll see that the most of this food is made up of a protein blend. And then the next biggest ingredient is sugar-free yogurt coating, okay? And as you go down the list, these are ingredients that have smaller and smaller amounts added to the food. So the smallest ingredient in terms of volume is stevia, and the largest is this protein blend. The next thing you'll notice is that sometimes there's like parentheses after a word or an ingredient. So this sugar-free yogurt coating, then parentheses, maltitol, palm kernel oil, yogurt powder, then another parentheses, even smaller. This is the ingredients in this sugar-free yogurt coating. So all of these things are all in this sugar-free yogurt coating. The next thing that I want you to notice is this allergy information. So due to the diligent work of a allergy lobby, we have the opportunity to see what kinds of allergens, of the top 8 allergens, are in a food. And this is to help those of you who have a sensitivity or are trying to exclude certain types of food from your diet. So you'll see this particular food has tree nuts, milk, and soy. So you're required as a food manufacturer to either mention that it has allergens in these words: eggs, wheat, nuts, milk, soy. You have to use those words either in the ingredient list or in a section that says allergy information. So if you have an allergy or an intolerance or you're avoiding something, you don't just get to look at the allergy information, because they can also list it out in the ingredients list. So This is not a perfect example of it. I'll show you another example in a second, but they can use the word soy in the ingredients to let you know that it has soy, or at the end they can say contains soy, especially if they call it another name. Example from foodallergy.org to help people understand all the different ways that food allergens can be listed on a nutrition label. So we have this first example where you have the ingredients, and you can see here there are some allergens: soy protein, flour. We don't know what type of flour. So we can either list it out with the word that is the allergen, or we can call it by another name.
Ovalbumin.
And you know that is egg, so people with egg allergies should not consume this. Or you can just blend it in the word right here. Natural peanut flavor, you know that it has peanut in it. Or you can put the word peanut in parentheses. So if there is no additional section that lists the allergens, you have to go into the ingredients list and look for those allergens individually. So that's just a helper for those of you who are thinking about allergens. I know it's a really big concern for more and more people.
I hope that information helps you make better decisions based on your values when you're reading the label, and you can decide, okay, based on what I have defined as my priorities, my values, I know that this food is good for me, or I know that this food doesn't fit my goals and I don't want to eat it. Okay?
Okay, so now I want to talk about some nutrient content claims that are made on packages and what they mean. So you might see things like trans fat free or low sodium on your food, and I just want to let you know that there are specific criteria that a food has to fit to be able to put these words on their product label. So for example, if you're eating something that's low sodium, it has to have less than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving. So see if you can see here in the corner, it says 140 milligrams or less per 8 fluid ounces, which is their serving. So they're allowed to put this word low sodium on their label. Next, I want to talk about some terms like enriched and fortified. So here you see a label of this pasta sauce that is called Fortified. It has DHA, omega-3, and you can see it has about 32 milligrams. I don't know if you can see that or not per serving. When something's labeled fortified, it means that vitamins and minerals are added to increase the nutrient density. Some foods are required to be fortified. So some of these are refined grain flours. Sometimes salt is fortified with iodine. Sometimes you'll see labels with the word enriched on it. So enrichment pertains only to refined grain products and covers some of the vitamins and minerals that are lost when you refine the grain. So if you're eating cornmeal, crackers, flour, tortillas, white rice, and other things made with refined grains, it's required by law that they enrich these flours with thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and iron. So that's law. So when you see enriched, that's an indicator that you're eating a refined product, because by law, they have to enrich it after they refine it to maintain the nutrient density. So if you're trying to avoid refined products, refined foods, refined grains, then you can straight avoid any food that says enriched on the front of it, because you know that that product is a processed food. Lastly, I want to talk about supplement labeling. So supplement labeling falls under a different set of laws and requirements than food. So to label a supplement, to market a supplement and sell it, it doesn't go through the same testing as a medicine. So the labels have different wording to reflect the difference in regulation. So you'll see something really important to note is that there must be on the label a piece where they say these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So if you see that, you know it is not a medicine. Supplements do not have to meet the same criteria as foods when they don't use the very specific labeling like heart healthy or low sodium or high in calcium. So again, I just want to reiterate, nutrient content claims on food package labels must meet specific criteria, whereas dietary supplements can make claims on their labels, such as supports the immune system or supports heart, brain, joint, and skin health. These are not labels that the FDA monitors, unlike these. So, heart healthy, excellent source of, bone health, all of these things are monitored by the FDA. You have to fulfill a certain requirement to be able to put these labels on your foods. Whereas if you have a supplement, these claims are not monitored by the FDA in the same way as the other claims.